philosophers from around the globe would often disagree on aspects of life throughout history. However, there is one part of mankind's existence that all can agree on. You were either a Nickelodeon kid or a Cartoon Network kid. And I am without a doubt a Cartoon Network kid. But I don't let that affect how I feel about the studio as a whole. There may have been only a few shows that I personally connected with, but the ones that I did were amazing. Series such as Avatar: The Last Airbender, Danny Phantom, and one of my earliest childhood memories is watching Rocko's Modern Life with my dad just before heading off to school every morning. So let's go back to the beginning and find out why they aren't just cartoons, they're Nicktoons.
Crazy. Not just cartoons.
We're Nicktoons.
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 Grandma sings, Pellswick rolls. Cat and dog have separate bowls. Invader Zim and Mrs. Bitters giving Dib a case of jitters. June and Henry, Baby Dill. Angelica and Phil and Lil. Susie, Kimmy, Chucky, Tommy. All their daddies and their mommies.
In the late 1970s, Nickelodeon started out as a small channel called Pinwheel, featuring shows that focused more on education than entertainment. Warner Cable, the company that would go on to be Time Warner, owned the channel and wouldn't do much with it until the 1980s, when it premiered Double Dare, You Can't Do That on TV, and Stand By, Lights, Camera, Action with the late, great Leonard Nimoy. But honestly, the shows couldn't keep the company afloat. Nickelodeon was operating at a loss of $10 million in the year 1984. Nick needed a serious rebranding to save the company, and that's exactly what they did. They ditched their old logo and created the Splat logo we all know and love today. They branded themselves as the first kid network and changed focus to what kids like. Not cartoons, no, kids like Nicktoons. So in the year 1991, the first Nicktoons were born and the world would never be the same. These very first cartoons would be Doug, Ren and Stimpy, and Nick's powerhouse for years to come, Rugrats. Rugrats would go on to be Nick's biggest hit. It ran for a total of 172 episodes and spawned several movies and even 2 spin-offs. The success of Rugrats brought Nickelodeon into the houses of many and cemented its claim to being the first network for kids. With its newfound success, Nick was able to expand its options with a mix of live-action and animated series that it would create from a number of studios throughout the 90s. Klasky Csupo, the creators of Rugrats, would go on to create Our Real Monsters, The Wild Thornberrys, and Rocket Power in this era. Independent creators were given a chance to shine as well. Joe Murray made Rocko's Modern Life in 1993, Craig Bartlett brought Hey Arnold to the channel in 1996, and Peter Hannon created Cat Dog. In the post-90s era, we would see the birth of many new animated series and live-action shows together, both with varying degrees of success. The live-action shows mostly came from the mind of Dan Schneider. He's responsible for Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, iCarly, and The Amanda Show. The cartoons that premiered in this post-90s era were shows like Invader Zim, The Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and My Life as a Teenage Robot. This golden era would have to come to an end, and it all did with a yellow square. Now I know what you're saying, and please don't click away. I love early SpongeBob, and I quote it constantly among my friends. My issue with it is not the content, it's the longevity of the show and how much money it's made over the years. I understand Nickelodeon's a business and they aren't here for artistic integrity but here to make a profit, but I think SpongeBob has crippled the company's creativity. In this current Sponge era, Nick is quick to do away with problem children. Invader Zim was cast aside at the height of its popularity for being controversial. I've never seen a studio treat a show the way Nick did with The Legend of Korra for being bold and different, and of course Nick's decision to pass on Adventure Time twice for not fitting into its mold. The channel seems to have become stale and stagnant. Nickelodeon could take a risk and try to create new shows, but to them it was safer to stick with the old and try to spin off Rugrats twice or to spin off Jimmy Neutron. Nick could create their own shows, or they could just license new shows from DreamWorks to fail every couple of years. This is why I will always choose Cartoon Network over Nickelodeon any day. Cartoon Network up until recently hasn't stopped being experimental and learning from their mistakes. Nick is in a state where they would rather play it safe, and I can honestly only count a handful of shows from the company that I enjoy, and only one of them is currently airing. Nickelodeon seems to be in a rut that hopefully the other big three won't fall into. I'm looking at you, Teen Titans Go!
Keep it here. We'll be back.